We're about to dive into one of modern history's greatest, most persistent mysteries. It's all about a titan of India's independence movement, a figure so larger than life that even his death is wrapped in layers of doubt and incredible controversy.
So here's the official story. On August 18, 1945, Subhas Chandra Bose died in a plane crash. Case closed, right? Well, not even close. For over 75 years, that story has been challenged by theory after theory. For so many people, the story didn't end in Taiwan. It was just the beginning.
You know, one of the most popular theories is that Bose, who was an absolute master of disguise, just vanished. The idea is that he secretly made his way back to India and lived out his days as a sadhu, a wandering holy man, just waiting for the perfect moment to reveal himself.
Then you have this totally different, much darker theory. We know Bose was trying to get to Soviet territory, but what if he actually made it? Some people are convinced he was captured and thrown into a gulag, becoming the secret pawn in the brand new Cold War. It just goes to show you how wild and far-reaching these theories get.
Okay, so to really understand where all this controversy comes from, we have to go back to what we actually know for sure. Let's trace the final, documented steps of Bose's last journey, a trip that started right after Japan's surrender and, well, ended in flames. So Japan surrenders, and suddenly all of Bose's plans are just thrown into complete chaos. He leaves Singapore, gets on a Japanese bomber in Saigon, and his goal is Manchuria. He's trying to get to the Soviets. But things get complicated. There's an unscheduled stop in Vietnam, and then on August 18th, the plane lands in Taiwan to refuel. It's around 2:30 p.m. when it takes off for the very last time.
All right, let's talk about the crash itself, because we actually have multiple eyewitness accounts, and they all paint this incredibly vivid and honestly terrifying picture of what went down at that airfield.
You have to understand, this was not a normal flight. The plane, a heavy bomber, was totally overloaded. And even before they took off, witnesses said the crew was worried. They kept testing the portside engine over and over again, which suggests they already knew something was seriously wrong.
And then, bam! Just as it's taking off, there's this huge bang. The mechanics on the ground literally see something fall right off the plane. It was the entire portside engine, propeller and all. With half its power gone, the plane was basically a runaway train in the sky.
The scene was just horrific. The bomber slams into the ground, breaks in two, and just erupts into a massive fireball. Somehow, Bose and an aide managed to get out, but Bose's clothes were soaked in gasoline. As he stumbles from the wreck, he's engulfed in flames.
He's rushed to a nearby military hospital, and the surgeon in charge, a Dr. Yoshimi, he knew right away how bad it was. We're talking extensive third-degree burns. His professional opinion was grim. He just didn't think anyone could survive that.
And so, according to all the medical staff and the other survivors, Subhas Chandra Bose died from his injuries that night, sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. His body was cremated just a couple of days later. And that, officially, is the end of the story.
But of course, the story did not end there. Not even close. The rumors that he survived were so persistent that over the next several decades, multiple governments launched their own official investigations to try and settle this thing once and for all.
And when you look at the results, the consistency is just striking. You've got a British report in '46, two massive Indian commissions, even a top-secret Japanese government report that wasn't declassified until 2016. They all interviewed the survivors, the doctors, everyone they could find, and every single time they came to the exact same conclusion. Bose died in that plane crash.
So here's the central conflict, right? On one side, you have a mountain of official evidence, eyewitness testimony, all saying the same thing. But on the other, you have this powerful emotional dissent, and it was sparked by Bose's own brother. He was actually part of that 1956 Indian inquiry, but he refused to sign the final report. He claimed it was all a cover-up, and that gave the conspiracy theories a huge shot of credibility.
So that brings us to the big question. If the evidence is so consistent, why on earth does the myth of his survival hang on so powerfully even today? Well, the answer really lies in the chaos surrounding his death and the incredible power of his own legend.
Think about it. It was the perfect storm for a conspiracy theory to take root. You've got the chaos at the end of World War II. There were no pictures of him, injured or dead. No official death certificate was issued. His closest followers, the people who would have known him best, never saw a body. And on top of all that, this is a guy who had a history of making these impossible, legendary escapes. For his followers, another great escape didn't just seem possible, it felt right.
And that right there is the real key. For his defeated army and his supporters, the story of his survival wasn't just some rumor, it was a lifeline. Believing their leader, their Netaji, was still out there gave them hope when they had none. The myth became a powerful way to keep morale up. It represented this idea of an unconquerable hero, which was something a nation on the brink of a new era desperately needed.
So in the end, we're left with this really fascinating question about history itself. The evidence points overwhelmingly in one direction, but the story, the powerful legend of the hero who just couldn't die, that's what continues to echo through the decades. And it really makes you ask, what do we choose to remember and why?